30 years ago, inside this nondescript building behind me, that at the time was a television station, a box of videotapes was delivered from Japan. Inside that box was a video that was not supposed to be included, which was called Beast King Go Lion. That video would become Voltron. This is no longer where World Events Productions is located, but we were invited to the current headquarters of World Events Productions here in St. Louis. Michael sat down with Jeremy Corray and Bob Koplar to talk about the upcoming Voltron movie and a lot of other exciting new projects.
All right, this is RetroBlasting on location at WEP. Jeremy Corray, take one.
What's with the show? Why? Wireless.
I am here with Jeremy Corray, who is the creative director at WEP.
And I am here with Michael French, who is RetroBlasting dude. How cool is that? Melinda's behind the camera. Everybody here, we're having fun. We wish you were here. Well, you are here. Yes, pay no attention.
Well, I got to ask first and foremost before we get into the questions, because he's going to answer some questions for us.
And, tough stuff. This is a no spin zone.
Right. And I appreciate you guys taking the time to invite us up here.
I appreciate you.
I got to ask, and not in any self-serving way, but why did you invite us here?
Because I like what RetroBlasting is doing. I'd say you're the Ken Burns of 80s pop culture, okay? Yes, I saw Melinda had that awesome video on Toynami, and so I really liked what you guys were doing and taking a very mature approach to nostalgia and not just, being crazy in front of a green screen. So you guys seem very sincere, and also you did that great video for the survey that we were doing. So I figured and hey, you got to come see where it all began. From days of long ago, St. Louis, Missouri.
Bob talked to us a little bit about the movie that you're developing.
There's a Voltron movie? It's a great idea.
He might want to tell you about that. You might want to get in a meeting with him.
How come I never get invited to those meetings?
Now that we've kind of started talking about the movie, and Jeremy will tell you this as well, it's a long process. Development in Hollywood can be a frustrating process. It takes several years. It takes a long time to bring a film to the screen, and especially to get a film to the position of green lighting, because it's so important to get everything right on the page. We've gone through already 3 or 4 drafts. I mean, complete page 1 rewrites. If you come out with a movie that's not great, then you've kind of lost your opportunity to make Voltron films. So it's got to be great, and we're taking the time to get it right on the page, and I'm confident we'll get there. What I'm encouraged by is the demand is always there. Studios always want to have that big franchise. Big tentpole films are really what drives the entertainment industry today. It's what drives Hollywood, and a property like Voltron lends itself to that, and it's a brand. I mean, you hear Voltron, most people know what it is.
Launching such a big project and wanting to do it right, and we don't just see it as one film, we see it as many films. We see this as we want this to be a trilogy at least. It takes a while. So and that race between He-Man and Voltron, right? They've got their director, they just lost that guy. Whatever, we'll see which one gets out first. But that's the most important thing. We want to do it right.
When we look at a Voltron script, when we come up with the creative, you have to always keep in mind that we're in a world where Pacific Rim exists, Transformers exists. You have to differentiate yourself from those, and I still feel like there's a huge opening to have a movie like Voltron, which by nature is not so much about robots as about people.
And to me, a lot of the times, I feel like the best Voltron movie would just be, those first 4 or 5 episodes where it's like such a fantastic story, of the space explorers going and getting captured and escaping from Zarkon's arena, and just, so many of these iconic imagery and the keys, and you remember, just frothing at the mouth by the time episode 4 came when we did form Voltron. I feel like there's a nice little arc right there. So
I'm glad to hear you say that.
Yes, no, that's what I if it was up to me, you just you film that. There's your storyboard. They're all done, or just rewatch it on Netflix. You can do that too, That's
but a live action version of those.
Wouldn't that be cool? Yeah, and I love the fantasy element that would instantly differentiate it from Transformers as it was, and as you and I remember. So we'll see. I mean, none of that's official things, but to me, I always like to say that we'll be in the meetings. We're like, let's do Voltron. How about that? It's all there. It's all there. Even the mullet. Just keep the mullet in. We can do everything. Respect the mullet.
Jeffrey Katzenberg. You might have heard of him.
I've heard of that guy. Keep an eye on him.
Right. He recently announced DreamWorks' acquisition of Classic Media and his plans to reinvent Voltron.
It's a clickable word.
Right.
What else? That leads to a lot of links.
Right. How does the relationship between WEP and Classic Media work? Does WEP trump DreamWorks in regards to Voltron? I assume WEP is still owners of Voltron.
Yes, as I'm sure Bob Koplar has told you, WEP is a family-owned mom-and-pop robot shop. So they're the worldwide rights holders to Voltron. Classic Media is our licensing company. And when DreamWorks Animation purchased Classic Media to become DreamWorks Classics, now we have this great opportunity to work with these world-class animators on some potential new Voltron content. But we're just getting started there. We're just kind of sniffing everything out here and just getting to know our new friends over there. But all indications are these guys are such fans of not only Voltron, but animation in general, and are going to treat the property right and hopefully exceed fans' expectations. So it's super exciting, but also super early. So there's nothing specific to talk about right now.
Voltron Force.
Okay.
Right. You guys bring it out.
Mm-hmm.
You do a whole season.
Rolling out.
You're rolling it. You've got
Swizz Beatz doing the song.
Yeah, you guys.
Is that what you're going to ask me about?
No. Actually, no. Although I know that there was some controversy about that.
The controversy. Any controversy, you just need to watch it with a room full of kids. They love it as much as we love the original Peter Cullen from Days of Long. We love that. We love the original theme and things that go. That's why we put it in there. But go on. Sorry.
No problem. You were one of the major story developers on Voltron Force.
On Voltron Force, credit must be given to Todd Garfield, who was the true story crafter. I would just bounce ideas with him every once in a while, and every night we'd be on the phone and just bouncing ideas back and forth. But he truly is, the master of that. And Derek Bachman did some work early on with the characters and whatnot.
I watched through the series, and I know that you guys are working on the live action film now, but I was interested to find out what would have happened to the kid that wanted to fly Black Line because he didn't actually get into the Force at the end.
Yeah, we kind of ended it on a cliffhanger. So we're talking about creative ways of tying that up. The next iteration of Voltron, as far as animation goes, we're still talking about development for the next series, and whether it'll be a continuation of that story or whether it'll be pulled back closer to the original 84 series, we're not sure yet. But in any case, we definitely want to find a fun way to tie those loose ends that we left hanging for Voltron Force, and that could take the form of a comic book or something of the like to kind of appease fans of that show who are wondering what's going to happen to those characters.
Yeah, that's good to hear because there's a lot of fans of that show that really want to see what happens to those characters. So that's great.
And what we want to do is wrap up and provide like a Voltron Force epilogue inside the 30th anniversary book, which is coming from Viz Media. So I'm talking to my friend Tracy Todd there about ways we can kind of wrap it all up for fans, because it ended on a bit of a cliffhanger. But yeah, in the Voltron 30th anniversary book, we're going to we're looking to wrap up kind of the story. And we're going to use Todd Garfield's actual story outlines and things, which is really exciting and really cool. It's kind of a big epic journey and kind of puts the universe in Defender of the Universe. And I don't know how much of that we'll be able to get to. The writer Brian Smitty Smith is going to be writing it. He did the excellent Viz Media Voltron Force books, which is another way fans who are hankering for some Voltron Force, if they check out those comic books, which I think are even available on the Viz Media app. There, they can get it on their iPad, things like that.
You have recently announced that Voltron and Robotech
Right.
are coming together in a comic book series.
Absolutely.
And how did that? Because it seems it's natural once you look at it, because Robotech and Voltron were both developed and launched at the same time, 84, 85,
right.
For kids.
We've had a friendship with Kevin and Tommy, everybody over there at Harmony Gold, and it is amazing kind of the synchronous timeline, and as far as the companies go. So it has always felt like a natural kind of collaboration point. So we've always talked about hosting a co-panel together, and then really it was a relationship with Nick Barucci over there at Dynamite Comics, and talking about future Voltron projects. And I said, I know these guys at Harmony Gold, they're very cool, maybe this is the opportunity. So it just kind of came down to timing, and after I introduced all the parties, they just took it from there. And for Robotech fans, it's exciting because this is going to be the first of many Robotech comic projects. So they got a nice mythology expanding saga to look forward to. But what Tommy's doing is a true throwback to the original series. I mean, our first creative call was just, let's do the two TV shows colliding. And I think Voltron fans, particularly after the last run of Dynamite Comics, written by Brandon Thomas, which were fantastic as far as this, I always say it's like the HBO series in comic book form. It's just definitely a harder edge, but it was kind of a reinvention and different. I think fans are ready to see Voltron back in that original, anime manga form, which is really, this is kind of the first Voltron manga that will ever come out. And Tommy and his artists are just doing an incredible job as far as the pages that I've seen, and fans can see that on our Facebook page as well. It's just like, oh yes, it's Keith and all the team back, and Allura, the way we remember them, even just with a slightly modern manga edge to them. So what he's doing is a true slam up of the show. I think it's going to take it in some surprising levels, but you're also going to see those big ticket scenes that you want to see, right? Those Veritech fighters clashing with lions and things. And so he's really we sat down and looked at the whole Voltron episodes, and at what point could the universes kind of cross over, and in that kind of inciting incident could it change and ripple the two universes forever. So he continues to surprise me all the time in emails and scripts and things that come in. It's like, whoa, we're gonna do that. So it comes out December 24th, I believe. So right in that Christmas time, and I'm telling fans that when you're sick of dad, right, at home telling you to get a real job, stop making these YouTube videos and things like that. All right, we're watching Voltron again. You can go out to the comic book store, be amongst your peeps, and pick up some Robotech Voltron issue #1. So
answer me one question.
Okay, just one.
Do you know, because Rick Hunter?
Okay.
You can never decide between Min-May and Lisa Hayes.
You were going deep, man.
So does Allura throw a third monkey wrench into that machine?
That's nice.
Suddenly he's like, oh no,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that we're seeing.
Is there a plan for Vehicle Voltron right now?
You want to die rugger? Let's die rugger.
Die rugger. Voltron's very popular. Do you have an interest in relaunching Vitor or Denver Saber Rider? I feel like WEP has been betrayed.
Whoa.
Toynami is back.
Toynami is back. We're back with Toynami.
Done. Because you've probably heard everybody begging for a Bandai Soul of Chogokin. If Mattel had put out Voltron toys
this is good.
Concurrent with Voltron Force, that Voltron Force would have been more likely to have gotten a second season